A new internal Peace Corps report exposes deep problems at the agency when it comes to health care for volunteers returning from service. Up to 30% of volunteers come back sick or they're injured. Kris Van Cleave investigates a bureaucratic maze, leaving some with little help and less support. He's in Washington with the story. Kris, good morning.
Good morning. The Peace Corps says 91% of its volunteers are satisfied with the medical care they receive. But government reports as far back as 1991 found problems with that care. Some volunteers tell us they've fallen through the cracks, in some cases, for decades. 73-year-old Nancy Minadeo Flanagan is struggling. In 1965, as a young Peace Corps volunteer in Malaysia, she was raped by 3 local men and impregnated with a daughter who died at birth.
I started having depression and nightmares and flashbacks.
In 2012, she got word she would be reimbursed for 50 years of medical bills, but she needed receipts.
Well, it's been 50 years. I don't have any receipts.
Flanagan is now on food stamps, barely getting by.
The mission of the Peace Corps is to help other people in other countries. But what about me? I'm here. And I need some help.
By law, Peace Corps volunteers who return sick or injured have to go through the Department of Labor for health care.
We care deeply about our return volunteers. They serve their nation, and we really want them to be able to get the care and support that they need, and we're working hand in hand with the Department of Labor to make that happen.
A task force established by the Peace Corps in March found some returned volunteers have been waiting years, even decades, to have their medical issues handled, and admits some of the issues cannot be quickly resolved or would require legislative change. We spoke with some returned volunteers. How has the process of getting reimbursed been?
It's a heavy bureaucratic mess.
Victoria Smith can barely walk. She broke her leg volunteering in Jamaica in 2008. A Peace Corps contracted doctor operated.
It was done incorrectly.
You're still dealing with the fallout from a surgery that wasn't done right.
Yes, when they did the surgery, they inserted the rod at a 45-degree rotation. So what that means is that my ankle went that way and my knee went that way.
Was the Peace Corps helpful at all in this process?
No, they didn't contact me. They never returned phone calls, emails. They sent investigators out, though, just to make sure I wasn't lying about my injuries. And basically, I don't want to sound dramatic, but I'm pretty much dead to them.
In 2012, the Government Accountability Office found fault with both the Peace Corps and the Department of Labor for not tracking the accessibility and quality of care for returned volunteers.
I was in and out of the hospital in Bangkok for a month.
While volunteering in Thailand in 2010, William Harless got an infection. He says the pain is still excruciating, and he struggles to get care. You came back sick. Why didn't you just go to a doctor?
Turned out that no reputable clinic that I could find on the East Coast or the West Coast would take this workman's compensation.
How has the Department of Labor responded to you? How have they treated you?
My claims examiners at the Department of Labor have treated me like I'm a parasite who's trying to live off the government dole.
What's kept you fighting for so long?
My mom, because I know if I ended it all, it would tear her apart. But if she wasn't here, I can't tell you what I would do.
Smith asked for an investigation of how the Peace Corps handled her injury. She was told standards for medical officers were upgraded in 2012. But months later, Sue Castle's son, Nick, died from a stomach virus while volunteering in China. Do you think your son would be alive today if he hadn't joined the Peace Corps?
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. It took me 2 years of fighting to get an Inspector General's report finding fault with his treatment.
That report found cascading failures and delays in treatment led to Nick's death.
When you're so sick, you really can't advocate for yourself, but they're really not advocating for you either. So there needs to be better measures in place.
The Peace Corps says it's been implementing significant reforms like hiring staff to help with the claims process, but to do more, the law would have to change. The Department of Labor told us the average volunteer gets a decision on their claim within 29 to 46 days. Nora?
All right, Kris, thank you.